Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this already fourth Info Day on the missions. The fourth amendment of the amendment to the work program has just been published, and that means that the Cancer Mission work program has become live, so to speak. So in today's session, we will start with a series of presentations to give you an update on where we stand with the Cancer Mission, where we stand with the implementation of the Beating Cancer Plan. We will also give you an overview of the project clusters. Then the colleague from HDEA will give you an overview of where we stand with the implementation of the projects. And then we will welcome the colleague from the EIT Health to give an overview on EIT Health as such and the involvement in the Cancer Mission. Importantly for you to know is that the recording will be available on YouTube, so you can always go back and check if you understood correctly what you've been told. Now, I hope that this Info Day will allow you to have a better understanding, on the one hand, what we want to do and what we would like to achieve with the Cancer Mission, but also, importantly, what to look for and what you should prepare for in the Work Program 24 and the call that will be published. So to start with, I will hand over to my colleague from DG Santé, Silvia Rubanova, who will give you an overview of where we stand with the implementation of the Beating Cancer Plan. Silvia, the floor is yours.
Morning, everyone, and thank you, Barbara, for your opening welcoming words. My name is Silvia Rubanova, and I'm a policy officer at the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan team in DG Santé. And I'm delighted to be here today with you. Today's event is organized to make you familiar with the EU Cancer Mission, its current implementation and projects. It is, however, important to stress that the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan is also there to tackle cancer from the health perspective. These two initiatives have been launched at the same time, and our teams are working together to ensure synergies for an amplified result. Let me say you a few words about the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan. It is a comprehensive strategy developed by the Directorate General for Health and Food Safety as a response to the growing burden of cancer in Europe. The Cancer Plan is not just about reducing the incidence of cancer, but also to improve the quality of life for cancer patients and survivors and to ensure equal access to high-quality cancer care for all EU citizens. The plan focuses on 4 key pillars: prevention, early detection, diagnosis, treatment, and survivorship. It includes measures to address the main cancer risk factors, as well as initiatives to improve cancer screening and early detection of cancer. The plan also emphasizes the importance of ensuring access to innovative treatments for the cancer patients and support to cancer survivors, so that they can continue living full and active lives after they recover. The synergies between the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan and the Cancer Mission are obvious. Both initiatives are committed to driving progress in cancer prevention and care, and they share a common goal of improving outcomes for cancer patients across Europe. By aligning our efforts, the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan and the Cancer Mission can maximize their impact and accelerate progress towards a future where cancer is no longer a death sentence. Let's give me one example on collaboration of these two initiatives on cancer screening. After almost 20 years, a new Council recommendation on cancer screening was adopted in December 2022, thanks to our common efforts. A group of chief scientific advisors, which is under the remit of DG Research, provided us with comprehensive and up-to-date scientific evidence, which was then discussed by the cancer subgroup, in which member state experts from both the health policy and research side meet, and they created the basis for the new recommendation. This recommendation has now been translated into projects financed by the EU4Health program, making sure that we put our money where our mouth is. Today's information session is an opportunity for us to learn more about the Cancer Mission and the ways in which we can work together to achieve our shared objectives. I'm confident that a good collaboration we can make significant strides in the fight against cancer and improve the lives of millions of people across Europe. I encourage you to take the opportunity of being here today and to ask questions and to actively participate in the discussions. Together, we can make a difference and create a brighter future for those affected by cancer. Thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward to a productive and engaging session.
Thank you very much for this, Sylvia, and also pointing out the synergies and the way we work together in the implementation of the Beating Cancer Plan and the Cancer Mission. And that leads me to our next speaker. I will invite my colleague Annika Novak, who is head of sector of the Cancer Mission Secretariat, to give you an overview of where we stand in the implementation of the mission. Annika, over to you.
Many thanks, Barbara, and I have the pleasure to briefly introduce you to the EU Cancer Mission. The mission, together with the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan, aims to improve the lives of more than 3 million people by 2030 through prevention, cures, and those affected by cancer and their families to live longer and better. The mission is based on 4 specific objectives. These are: understand cancer, cancer prevention, cancer diagnosis and treatment, and quality of life for people living with and after cancer. And these 4 specific objectives go hand in hand with transversal priorities, in particular to ensure equitable access for all along the cancer pathway. So far, the mission they have a portfolio of actions. First, it includes 4 flagship initiatives under each of its objectives. For example, the UNCAN EU platform, which will help advance the understanding and progression of cancer. Second, so far, between 2021 and 2023, the Cancer Mission has made available almost 380 million to support R&I actions and to support development of its flagship initiatives under each of its mission objectives. And these projects are brought together in thematic clusters to engage coordinators in building synergies among the projects. Third, the mission builds synergies with other initiatives at EU, national and regional levels to ensure a successful implementation. In particular, as it was already outlined, it plays a major role in supporting the implementation of the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan. Strong emphasis has also been put into connecting to the different parts of Horizon Europe, for example with the health cluster, with research infrastructures, with Horizon Europe partnerships, and the European Innovation Council. Equally, synergies are also sought with initiatives at national level and other EU programs, such as the EU for Health program. Finally, citizen engagement is also a very important feature of missions. For the Cancer Mission, for example, it has launched a dialogue with young cancer survivors in 2023. This year, a pilot bus roadshow will start in 3 member states to raise citizens' awareness around prevention and cancer screening. Another important feature of missions are the governance structures. For the Cancer Mission, both together with the Cancer Plan, they benefit from a unique governance at EU level. A new dialogue with and between member states has been created, a dialogue on cancer, bringing together for the first time health and research ministries in a joint cancer subgroup under the Public Health Expert Group. This ensures that scientific knowledge gained through R&I actions informs the policy developments. Second, to advise the Commission on the development of missions work program, a working group was created under the Strategic Program Committee, which is composed of representatives from research ministries. These are the group at EU level, but to facilitate the integration of the mission actions into the national level, the mission has launched the ECOS project, which will build a network of national cancer mission hubs. These hubs will facilitate the cross-policy dialogue on how to best tackle cancer, benefiting from the initiatives at EU level. With the launch of the cancer mission, some member states have already created so-called mirror groups that started the coordination of cancer actions and involve national stakeholders in the implementation of the mission. Finally, at national level, there are national contact points created in each member state and most associated countries that provide you guidance on choosing the relevant topics and types of actions to give practical information and assistance on all aspects of participation on Horizon Europe. Finally, I would like to draw your attention to the upcoming brokerage event on the 21st and 22nd of May, which will give you opportunities for researchers, for you to meet others, and to explore possibilities to put an application together. So please note today the registration is still possible until the 17th of May. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annika, also for pointing out what the objectives of the cancer mission are, and then the way we have engaged in the dialogue will increase cancer control by working hand in hand with ministries of health and research at national level, and then importantly engaging with citizens throughout. Annika mentioned the fact that we have set up project clusters, and therefore I would like to invite my colleague Kay Duggan-Wells from the Cancer Mission Secretariat to update us on the Cancer Mission project clusters. Kay, over to you.
Thank you, Barbara. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to talk to you about the project clusters that we have established. And clusters are developed to build a portfolio of projects that address the cancer mission objectives. And the clusters are linked to the mission objectives that Annika has pointed out before. The objective of understanding, prevention and early detection, diagnosis and treatment, and quality of life. And the clusters are developed under each of these objectives. So the aim of the clusters is to support the mission objectives, to create added value, and to increase the impact of EU funding, and to establish a policy feedback loop. So the coordinators for these projects are asked to identify what they'd like to work on together. And at the time of grant agreement, projects in a given call come together and they agree on areas of added value that they work on, such as data management. And they look at the synergies between the projects to see if they can harmonize work in these areas. And under research and innovation, they look at areas to reduce the overlaps. Under communication and dissemination, they're asked to produce a video or a brochure in the first year, and also to organize an annual meeting to inform each other on progress in the cluster. Under citizen engagement, they're asked to organize an exchange with citizens, and these activities have been agreed and included in the grant agreement, and they're common work packages. And they agree on specific text to include into the work packages as well. And they will also cross-reference other areas. And just to point out in green here, this is a footnote that's in the calls in the work programme. So in order to address the objectives of the mission on cancer, participants will collaborate in project clusters to leverage EU funding, increase networking across sectors and disciplines, and establish a portfolio of cancer mission R&I and policy actions. So it's important to take note of this when you're looking at the different call topics and when you're applying, because just to let you know that you will have to work in clusters with other projects that will be funded in that call. Next slide, please. So the mission clusters were first funded with projects from 2021, and then as other projects were funded in the different years, they were added to these clusters. So cluster 1 consists of understanding, risk factors and determinants launched in September 22. And then again, other projects in the tumour host interactions have been added to cluster 1, and that was launched in September 23. And then we have cluster 2, prevention and early detection, so the screening, implementation, research and behavioural change. Cluster 3 is diagnosis and treatment with refractory cancers, and then diagnosis and treatment with diagnostics. And then the quality of life cluster was launched in September 23. So each time we have a call in one of the areas, funded projects will be added to the established cluster. And next slide, please. So I'm going to just give you an update on some of the progress of these clusters. So we're going to have the first policy webinar on the understanding cluster on the 5th of June. And this will bring projects together with a wide audience of stakeholders to look at the policy feedback from these projects and to see how to make better use of the project results. And there are 12 projects altogether under this cluster. And then under the annual meetings that the project clusters have been asked to organise, the first annual meeting took place between the Understanding Risk Factors and Determinants cluster and cluster 2, Prevention and Early Detection and Screening. So that annual meeting took place in September in San Sebastian. And cluster 2, Prevention and Early Detection under Implementation Research, will have its annual meeting on the 23rd of September in Vienna. So I will finish just to ask you to look at these links here at the bottom. There's the video and brochures that the clusters who've already been established have set up, and they have done a video and a brochure, even though they were asked to do just one or the other. So it would be good to look at those so you'll see the work that the clusters are carrying out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kay, for clarifying and explaining and presenting the work we do on clusters. It's really about maximizing the investments we do in research and ensure that projects can benefit from each other's insights, but also that coherent messages are brought out to citizens about what research can do to improve the understanding or the prevention, diagnosis and treatment, or quality of life. So I would now like to move over to invite our colleague from HDEA, Yanis Voldris, to give us an overview of the Cancer Mission Work Programme 23 results. Over to you, Yanis.
Thank you, Barbara, and good morning to all participants following the event online. It is a pleasure to join you. I'm Yanis Voldris, Program Manager and the main Cancer Mission contact person in HDEA agency. I would be very glad to, given the time limitation, to outline briefly the work that we do on the implementation of the Cancer Mission. For that reason, here you may see the budget overall trusted to our Health and Digital Executive Agency for the current financial framework program. It goes over of 20 billion of euros in total. And I kindly draw your attention to Horizon, to the orange part of the pie that includes the Horizon Europe, including, of course, the Cancer Mission. As you may see also, the EU for Health with the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan are also trusted activities under HDEA roof. We may please continue with the next slide. And here you have a very short overview of how our role is played out in the implementation. As you can see, today you are going to hear in detail about the work program and the topic descriptions by my colleagues in DG RTD, the policy DG drafting and defining the work program. Whereas for us, we come one step after, starting from the evaluation of the proposals, and we continue throughout working with the successful projects and ongoing projects, successful proposals, and ongoing projects throughout the implementation life cycle. Next slide, please. And here we found a very good occasion to you that you will be interested applying in 2024 call to give you a small overview of what happened last year and how this work is currently materializing. So you may see, please, in the overall architecture of the cancer mission, that we had topics both in different pillars and main domains, such as understanding, prevention, diagnosis and treatment, and also the quality of life, reflected also by the type of research and innovation action or innovation action accordingly. And with the next slide, please. I would like to continue with some overall statistics about the 23 call. It has been a total of 13 successful proposals retained for funding. Here, your attention and apologies for a small transfer error on the total number of evaluated proposals. It has been 104. And the budget, and you can see again the different pillars and domains reflected by this number. And important to stress, all these 13 now ongoing projects have started the implementation. And you may please visit the dedicated Commission's CORDIS database, the research results platform, for all information you need for each project. Next slide, please. I'm continuing with some general statistic, stressing here from the number of retained for funding proposals, the 13 ones, the participation as per the EU member state case, and you may see in the graph that member states such as Germany, Italy, and Spain have topped the participation with more than 20. And you may see directly after Belgium and France and Netherlands continue with the highest participation, whereas some other member states, they did not manage to participate. And as it concerns the associated and third countries, as per the 2023 classification, the United Kingdom, together with Israel, they had the highest participation of 10 and 5. And also in third countries, we had Switzerland, Canada, and Australia participating in our funded projects. We may continue, please. So to slowly close my intervention, here, given the limitation of the time, I have put the tables of the successful proposals. That means currently implemented ongoing projects as per each topic. Here you can see for the 01 on understanding poorly tumor host interactions. Next slide, please. Here you can see the cases for the 02 and the 04. And as you can see in the note below, further information can be sought together with the results that they will be continuously published via the CORDIS database. And next slide, please. Here we conclude with the 03 topic on diagnosis and treatment pillar with the pragmatic clinical trials on minimally invasive diagnostics. Maybe a last point to stress from these tables that you can see diversity on the types of cancer being funded, since the topics are open, and you can see from pediatric, breast cancer, and so on, a comprehensive approach, as well as a diversity on the participating leading institutions, such as yours that you might be listening from academic institutes, university hospitals, SME industries, and other type of organizations. And with that, I think I'm concluding here, and I would like to thank you for the attention. I wish all participants best of success with implementation.
Thank you very much, Yanis, for this presentation. And I would like to remind everyone that this session will be available on YouTube, so you can go back to it and look at the project and the information that Yanis just provided you with. So then I would like now to move over to our next speaker, which is Jean-Marc Bourret from the EIT Health. He will give a presentation on EIT Health, but also clarify the involvement in the cancer mission. Jean-Marc, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning, dear colleagues. Next slide, please. So I'm going to introduce to you the raison d'être of EITS. So actually, EITS is positioned as a strategic and implementation instrument to achieve the European Commission and member states' innovation agenda. Our mission is to drive a healthcare innovation and create a positive impact in Europe by strengthening the healthcare systems with new methods to deliver health care, like measuring outcomes that matters to patients and clinicians, or by harnessing the power of health data for research, innovation, and public health, but also supporting the development and market access of innovative products, solutions, and services driven by industries and SMEs to address the unmet medical needs and the unmet market need. Next slide, please. So when it comes to our footprint, so one of our main assets is actually related to our regional footprint via our collocation centers across Europe, including Central Eastern Europe countries, like our EITS in the STARS community and the RIS EIT community. Each collocation center boasts a specialized team focused on comprehending the nuances of the local ecosystem. This involves tailored access to local networks and a deep understanding of regional specificities within the value chain of innovations and health care providers so far, and innovators, obviously. So collaboration is key. All our collocation centers are capable to engage on a daily basis, united by a shared mission and clear objectives to address our main strategic agenda and objectives so far. Next. So by doing so, we are looking forward to make health care innovation happen together by actually integrating the three sides of the knowledge triangle. So the business part of the knowledge triangle, supporting and academic partners working with startups, SMEs, and industry, corporate industry in the life science sector, and education, obviously. So we are looking forward to create a more conducive environment so that life-changing innovation can happen. Using our collective strengths and assets, we drive a positive societal impact that none of us could achieve alone. That's the principle of working at the intersections within the value chains of innovation in the health and care sector. Next. So I'm not going to enter into too much details, but we are, from our operating model, using different kind of programs and tools. So the operating model is actually driven by the knowledge triangle integration at the intersection between education, innovation, and business creation, with our innovation community continuous goal. So we are used to manage, continuous goal on a yearly basis with some specific cutoff. The one-time call issue on purpose, which is a gathering opportunity to create synergies and leveraging resources between EU-funded programs and member state-supported initiatives. And obviously, the education portfolio is aiming to support specific programs to address patients' educations and awareness, but also healthcare professionals trainings and innovators trainings as well. But also we are gathering some specific programs for startups and SMEs and industry, meaning that we can obviously creating the relationship between industry sector, research organizations, and higher education institutions moving forward. Next slide. So what we are looking for to bring and contribute to the cancer mission. So we can obviously aligning ourselves with the work program 2024, like the accessible and affordable tests to advance early detections of heritable cancers in European regions. We can provide an access to our collocation centers and regions, including the Central Eastern Europe countries so far, throughout our ecosystems and knowledge innovation community. So we can provide an access to innovation ecosystem at EITL to our partnership and 130 partners network and the related extensive ecosystem so far. We can obviously contribute to education portfolio, awareness programs to patients, citizens, policymakers, and health and care providers, obviously. And we can support the development of new technologies in the diagnostics sector to test and developing further proof of concept to new products, solutions, and services, and managing the market access and implementations of such a kind of innovations, and upscaling those innovations across Europe. So we can also provide an access to our own private investors, like industry or private venture funds that are willing to getting access to untapped innovators and investing into promising technologies that will be addressing the unmet medical needs and unmet market needs so far. Next slide. So to give you a sense of what we are doing at EHS, we have our portfolio of projects. As you can see on this chart, cancer is actually representing the third sub-segment of our innovation portfolio since our inception in 2016. So we are already invested roughly 200 million euro in the innovative and innovation project portfolio, and cancer is representing more than 12% of this portfolio so far, and oncology as well. Next slide. So when it comes to concrete initiatives that we supported since our inception, as you can see here, there is a list and a selection of a project focused on cancer, like a genetic-based test for breast cancer and risk, Colomet, which is focused on novel urine tests for early detections of colorectal cancer metastasis in the liver, and many other alike projects like Flagknife, which is using ultra-high dose rate radiation therapy for cancer, and so on and so forth. So long story short, we are already getting a really strong expertise and knowledge in the field of managing the development of new product solution services, including diagnostics technologies, embedding artificial intelligence, and dealing with complex or multiple biomarkers as well. Next one. So as a conclusion, there is an evident and considerable alignment exists between the EITLs and the cancer mission work program. Various EITLs tools and programs could be leveraged to create mutual value for both programs, like education programs, access to our regional footprint and ecosystem, and also the possibility to manage the development of project consortia proposal with our partners and community so far. On top of which we can bring expertise to leverage additional public funding and private funding, as well as to increase the sustainability of research delivered under the cancer mission program. So long story short, the EITLs is really keen to explore synergies and is open to discuss collaboration, including joining the cancer mission work program so far. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Jean-Marc, for your presentation. We will now turn over to a first question and answer session. And the question and answers should be focused on the overall presentation that we gave. So the cancer mission, the project clusters, the implementation, and obviously also EIT. Now, to gather your questions, you should access the Slido tool and select the session Cancer Mission. And I want to reassure you, you will have plenty of opportunity to ask questions specifically related to the Work Program 24 topics, but we will do that after the presentation of these topics. And we will have a short break to allow you to gather your thoughts and put your questions, overall questions, in Slido. So I repeat, the specific questions on topics will come later. Thank you. So we see the first questions popping up, and you had the question, when is the quality of life cluster planning to meet, and is the meeting open to external audience? And here I would like Kay to come in. Is it Kay? Can you answer that question?
Yes, the quality of life cluster had the first meeting to start their agreement on the work program. But my colleague in Hade would know when they're going to have their kickoff meeting. But they have met to agree on what they put into the grant agreement in the work packages.
So Yanis, should you have the date in mind, you can give it. And all else, I suggest you take already the next question. That would be for Jean-Marc to answer. Are all EIT health services under cancer topic free of charge?
So when it comes to these questions, I would reply that we are used to support project applicants within the community of partners that are working with our EITL's knowledge innovation KIC members. So the project design phase, is supposed to be delivered by the EITL's community and our organizations to any kind of innovator. And we are gathering some specific support to develop a project portfolio proposal and any kind of activities related to education programs submitted to EITLs. So it's at the inception phase, free of charge. And if the project portfolio is selected, if it's a KIC member, the KIC member are already used to pay a membership fee. If it's a non-partner of EITLs, then they are supposed to contribute to the financial sustainability of EITLs by applying to become a KIC member of EITLs to cover our operation expenses so far. But this is only the case of EITLs supporting the selected project portfolio and contributing to the financing of those project and activity portfolio.
Thank you very much, Jean-Marc. Now we have a question on the blueprints for the European Cancer Patient Digital Center and the Uncanny EU data platform. Annika.
Yes, thanks for the question. Yeah, we do intend and will publish soon both blueprints, but we are still in the process of finalizing and preparing these publications. So once we have finished that, we will put them on our website. We have also received a question that on whether where are more information to be found on the implementation plan of the mission. Since recently, we have a new website which I invite you to explore, which gives you plenty of information how we go about the implementation of the cancer mission. And there we will then also place and publish the 2 blueprints.
And maybe, Annika, you can answer the next question, the relationship between the cancer mission and the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan.
Yes, happy to do that. And indeed, that's an important question to understand what's the relation between the 2 parallel initiatives. As we have outlined in the beginning, both were developed in parallel and came to life in the same year. So while the Europe's Beating Cancer Plan is the policy initiative of the European Commission, which contains 42 policy actions, legislative and non-legislative actions aiming to assist member states in improving cancer control, the mission has been developed under the Horizon Europe program. It's a new tool that focuses on the research and development side to improve cancer care, but not only, it has also various different actions, for example, citizens' engagement activities, which then informs both the research activities as well as the policy actions. So both instruments exist in parallel. They are integrated through their actions, they are integrated through their joint governments, which I had presented earlier on, to make sure that each time the scientific knowledge we gain through the missions, through the projects and the activities inform the policy measures and that the policy discussions around cancer informs where are the research gaps, where can the mission can act and identify and launch new topics. So it's a close relationship between the two, which is important to understand.
Now we have an information about the clusters. Would that be Yanis who could answer that question?
Thank you, Barbara. If the question was referring to the meeting taking place with done, then it usually takes place on the first month of the implementation, following the grant agreement. I hope you can hear me, because somebody
The connection is not that great, Yanis, but we will come back then to clarify later. I'll take the next question, which is for Jean-Marc. The question is whether EIT Health is able to join as partner in call consortia for 24. There's a question of clarification.
Thank you. Yes, to respond quite clearly, we are able to join as a partner in the call consortia for 2024, and we have to make a difference between the EITL's KIC partners and EITL's as such as an organization. So EITL's knowledge innovation community members are fully let's say, eligible to apply and to join the call consortia for 2024. And we are looking forward to support EITL's KIC members to join this call consortia proposal. And to fill the gap, EITLs can bring complementary support as a legal entity to bridge the gap for project consortia building and related activities like education, portfolio activities, and all other kind of support and services that we can gather within the call consortia so far. So yes, for both EITL's KIC members and EITS as a legal entity per se.
Thank you very much, Jean-Marc. Then we had a question on the website, but Annika already informed you that there's a new implementation-related website for the Cancer Mission, and you will get information on that new website. And then there's a question on the Cancer Mission specific calls, when they open and when they end. I think, Yanis, you could reply to that one, because I don't have the exact dates in mind.
18th of April 24 is the opening day, and 18th of September the close.
Can you please repeat, Yanis, because it was a bit, so that everyone can hear?
18th of April, a few days ago, 18th of April 24 is the opening day, and 18th of September 24 is the closing day, the deadline day.
Yeah. And obviously you will see these dates on the funding and tenders portal when you look for the Cancer Mission work program. Thank you, Yanis. Then there's a question on how to synergize between clusters. The question is, how do we synergize with the quality of life cluster? I think this is something that you will need to address with the colleagues of HDEA and indicate what your specific interest would be. And then, of course, we can, the colleagues of HDEA can facilitate making the links. And with that, I think I don't see any other question put in the chat. So we have some questions for you in the sense we are launch a Slido poll we would like you to answer to. So you have to go to the Slido.com website and use the code that you see on the screen, which should allow you to participate in the polls and to ask questions. So you see already on Slido what other areas should be funded under the Cancer Mission in the future. And please use maximum of 2 words. So what do you think in the future? So not in 24 work program, but in the future, which other areas should be funded. And I gave you some time to connect and to give your thoughts. I already see that preclinical models, data management, rare cancer, gender disparity, de-escalation, importantly, some people would like us to focus on the elderly. I see that there are a lot of ideas popping up. I just wonder if there's a different way to show this so that we can see whether certain areas gather more votes than others. The participants are really covering the whole spectrum, I see, because it goes from basic research to health systems, rare cancers pop up regularly, tools for citizens, the role of AI, aging again, pragmatic trials, focus on children, AQ, which everyone would love to have, yes, cell-based immunotherapies, early onset cancer, so also unkind diagnostics, palliative care, social entourage. It's really reaching out to the communities and probably linked to the support cancer patient could receive. Refining diagnosis, cancer vaccines. A lot of ideas that that you are putting in Slido and that we will look more closely at. And as I mentioned, I see that it is really, you're covering the whole spectrum. So I suggest you move to the second question, which is for the current work program, if you could indicate which topics you're most interested in. So you see them on the screen. Yes. It takes always a little while for your inputs to come on the screen, and I see it's fluctuating. I see strong interest in the topic related to the management of late effects in adolescents and young adults. And the use cases for the Uncan data platform research. Yes. Okay. It's still moving a little, but I think we're reaching the end of your inputs. It's good to know. It's also good to see that there is interest for all of the topics. So, and also it means that those of you that are connected now represent as well different types of research groups and interested parties. So I suggest that we now move to the meat of this Info Day, meaning the presentation of the different topics and the questions you might raise in that respect. So I will be inviting my colleagues Jan van der Loo and Angelo Solimini to present the 6 call topics, but we'll we have a short break for them to allow to come on stage. So we're back, and it's my pleasure to hand over the floor to Jan van der Loo, our senior expert in the Cancer Mission Secretariat, who will start presenting the first topic. Jan, over you.
Thank you, Barbara. So on this slide, you see briefly an overview of all the topics that the Cancer Mission has published so far, including Work Program 2024, which we're discussing today. And today we're going to focus only on the filled boxes. So these are 6 topics, quite a lot. So can I have the next slide, please? Just a few general remarks before we go into the topics. So Cancer Mission 2024, Cancer Mission approach is clearly visible in all that we do, including in Work Program 2024. So it's about setting up portfolios. It's the citizen engagement aspects, the working with the end user. So, for example, we consistently try to involve sectors and disciplines from different angles more than we did before in these work programs. So that's important to remember, because this will be part of the evaluation, and we have tried to explain that clearly in these topics whenever relevant, of course. You will see that in each of the topics there will be this strong focus on making sure that you have budget to network with other projects, what was already mentioned by my colleague Kay before. So the details will come afterwards during the grant preparation, but make sure that you make those calculations and that you take that into consideration when you prepare your proposal. Then, of course, an important aspect is this issue about citizen engagement. So we work a lot with citizens in various formats, and this includes citizens without and with cancer, so also, but not only patients and caregivers. So we really would like to invite applicants to avoid focusing on a few patient NGOs, but really look widely. Any participation, whenever relevant, is welcome, and we hope that we have clearly described how you can do this. So end user engagement is important, so we are really trying to stimulate the participative research model. So this could be done through, for example, living lab approaches. It could be done through any other end user approach. There are just some examples on the slide. End users could be seen, of course, as citizens, as patients, as local communities, but it could also be, for example, cities, it could be schools. So this has to be interpreted as a very broad concept. Next slide, please. So in one of the topics, which is topics on heritable cancers, you will see the mentioning of technology readiness levels, TRL. And this is to explain what is meant with TRLs. We put a reference, well, the first one is from IARTO, which is what you see on the slide, and an interesting reference is also where it is translated into health research and healthcare. So we really invite you to have a close look at that information. Some general information about participation that we always get: participation of the UK, Switzerland, associated in third countries. This is all clearly referenced in the last slide and can be found also in the general annexes of Work Program 2024. Next slide, please. So I now pass the floor to my colleague, Angelo.
Thank you, Jan. So topic 01, use cases for the Uncan.eu research data platform. This is a research and innovation action with a budget of about 30 million euro, and we do expect to fund one project with a maximum page length for the applications of 70 pages. Uncan.eu is a flagship action of the Cancer Mission, which aims at improving our understanding on how cancer develops and progresses. It is foreseen as a digital platform where researchers can access, share, and analyze data coming from various sources and belonging to different domains. We do expect proposals contributing to the following scopes: develop the Uncan.eu platform by integrating or complementing existing data nodes of European infrastructures and/or other national infrastructures that link data holders like, for example, hospitals, research centers, comprehensive cancer centers, and others. Due consideration should be given to the provision of the recently approved European Health Data Space Regulation. Uncan.eu should provide open source tools for the efficient use of cancer-fair datasets for research, capitalizing over the work done by preparatory project, and in particular by the action called EOSC for Cancer. The platform should be made operational through a rich and diverse portfolio of use cases. Use cases should address well-defined research questions that are in line with cancer mission objectives and, at the same time, should pose specific challenges that could push forward the development of new digital tools and solutions. In this regard, we do expect disease specialists and data and IT infrastructure specialists to work hand by hand. Next slide, please. One aspect that the use cases should cover is the integration and analysis of massive amount of fair data of different type. Although we leave the design of use cases to applicants, at least one use case should integrate genomics, images, and pathology data, so far contributing to the genomics data infrastructure and the Cancer Image Europe that are initiatives followed by the DG Connect, another Director General of the Commission. Another use cases should target a pediatric cancer, and a third should target a cancer type with a 5-year survival rate below 50% from the time of diagnosis. There should be a mechanism to allow new data holders to join the uncan.eu platform when new data sources are made available, and appropriate links should be made with topic 02 that we will see afterwards. Proposals are expected to contribute to all of the following outcomes. The uncan.eu platform is established as a network of national data nodes that link cancer data holders across European countries. Tools and services for working with fair cancer data are developed by multidisciplinary teams. Researchers use the electronic resources provided by the uncan platform to work efficiently with data of different types and different domains. Next slide, please. We move now to topic 02, support dialogue towards the development of national cancer data nodes. This is a coordination and support action with a budget of about 3 million euro, and we do expect to fund one project. This topic is closely linked with topic 01, as already mentioned, and also with topic 06 that I will illustrate later on. Therefore, we expect that successful proposals, successful consortia of those calls will closely cooperate together. In topic 02, we expect proposal covering all of the following scopes. Foster the development of national data nodes through policy dialogue at national level, and this can be done through different actors in the research and innovation field, the digital health, and the public health fields. Proposals should identify and build synergies between European infrastructure dealing with data access and share for primary and secondary uses. In particular, the topic refers to the European health data space infrastructures, as well as to other infrastructures as appropriate. Proposals should identify challenges and barriers for the implementation at the national and at the European level of the uncan.eu platform and of the European Cancer Patient Digital Center. This is a second data initiative of the Cancer Mission targeting cancer patients, survivors, as well as researchers. Proposals should identify populations and geographical areas with limited digital resources that will hinder the use of those platforms and suggest solutions to reduce the digital divide. Proposals are expected to contribute to all of the following outcomes. The process of establishment of national cancer data node is facilitated. Solutions to overcome potential barriers in the implementation of the two platforms are made available. And with this, I pass back to Jan for topic 03.
Thank you, Angela. So topic 3 is about heritable cancers, and more in particular about accessible and affordable tests to advance the early detection of those heritable cancers in European regions. So The budget for these proposals is in the order of 10 to 12 million per proposal. We expect to support several proposals. It's an innovation action, so we really want to see upscaling, reaching TRL levels 5 to 7. This topic also requires to have included in the proposal a written commitment from the regions or the region that this consortium or consortia are going to target. We apply the evaluation portfolio approach. That means as childhood cancer, as was explained by Annika, is a transversal priority, we address this priority in many actions we do. In this topic, it means at least one proposal that is fully dedicated to childhood cancer is going to be supported if it passes the overall threshold. Of course, synergies are important, and we are going to set up a cluster of these projects that are going to be successful following the evaluation of this topic number 3. So the scope of this topic, so we kindly ask consortia to address all that is addressed. So it's really about validation of easy to use, affordable and accessible tests to make sure that you can detect at an early stage cancers which have a clear heritable genetic risk, so hereditary cancers for uptake in regional or national healthcare systems. The test can be based on essentially anything that the consortium thinks is relevant, is useful, so it could be based on genetics, omics, any other biomarker, any wearable, anything that you think is innovative and is applicable to the region or the areas that you are going to target. It's important that you stratify the to be tested population. As usual, I'd say we do that all the time: sex, gender, age, other determinants, for example, socioeconomic status. GDPR is important, but also applicants should really consider the limited health literacy among the population to be targeted, the limited awareness of even disease symptoms and access for people in remote and rural areas. Because this is, to address equity as another transversal priority of the mission. Tests, as I mentioned, can be based on any sort of methodology. For example, polygenic cancer risk scores, algorithm, machine learning, biomarkers, cell lines, organoids, anything that you think is useful. Important, as I explained before, is the co-creation with end users, so including citizens and health professionals. And we think of particular of psychologists, but also that live in those targeted regions to make sure that also these aspects are addressed. Innovation lifecycle, priority definition, the design of what you're going to do, development, testing, and piloting that you involve those end users. So we expect to see extensive piloting and upscaling of these tests, and there is a clear requirement to target the regions that are stated here. I'm not going to mention them all, but one of the 3 targeted regions that you're going to address should be one of the ones mentioned in bold. So then finally, but not less important, is that we would like to see that you preferably work together with one of the IT health kick networks that were really nicely explained by Jean-Marc to establish the appropriate context and to support relevant entrepreneurship, innovation, education, training, capacity building, or any aspect of technical or social innovation for the stakeholders in the targeted regions. So with that, I think we can move to the next slide. So the expected outcome of topic 03, so we expected by the end of the project duration that people and families with this clear heritable genetic risk of cancers or cancer will benefit from the outcomes of these early detection test programs in, as we have said in the topic, is mostly real-world healthcare. So civil society foundation innovations will hopefully have then that information to seize opportunities, to co-create, support, or commercialize even the early detection program and testing that has been produced, again based on any type of test that comes out of these consortia. And last but not least, regional and national policymakers and authorities in member states and associated countries will have the information to engage in the piloting and further scaling up and implementing these suitable early detection tests for the heritable cancers. Thank you. Let's move to topic 4. Topic 4 is about supporting pragmatic clinical trial program by cancer charities. So the scheme is a CSA, Coordination Support Action. The budget is roughly 3 million. We expect to support one proposal, and the scope is a rather long list of, I'd say, rather pragmatic, easy to address issues. So the main issues we want to bring together charities. There are hundreds of charities in Europe doing fantastic work, but we want to bring them together and therefore leveraging the funding, reducing duplication, and so on and so forth. So together these registered charities are going to organize, fund, and implement at least 2 transnational calls that will be investigator-driven trials focusing on rare cancers or any difficult-to-treat cancer. That means 5-year overall survival of less than 50%. And they also make sure to organize annual networking activities between the charities, the successful academic investigators, but also the citizen representatives and stakeholders across member states that are going to be associated to this effort. So there are a number of details about the trials themselves. So pragmatic trials are interventions that focus on effectiveness. It's clearly explained in the topic. They should be, of course, addressing the particular needs of the target population. The interventions should take into account, wherever possible, socioeconomic and biological stratification. The data should be disaggregated, again, according to sex, gender, age, and any other relevant variables. And, of course, when it comes to the expected outcome, the network at the end of this will have information concerning new treatments that will be useful for cancer patients and caregivers, so they hopefully then have access to more effective and patient-centered treatments and care solutions. The same that research innovators and professionals from different disciplines will make sure that these trial data can be made available to the Uncanny EU research data platform that you just heard about, which is in preparation. And the information should also be available to national healthcare providers, policymakers, and authorities in European regions, member states, and associated countries, so that they can start implementing affordable, accessible treatments and care solutions in their healthcare systems. So that is topic 04. And I'll pass the floor to myself again, topic 5. So this is a topic on improving the understanding and management of late effects in adolescents and young adults with cancer. This topic is foreseen to have per proposal budgets of roughly 4 to 6 million, but as we always state in the work program, any other budget can be requested provided that is well justified. It's open as a scheme, as a research and innovation action. And the projects will be brought together in a cluster. Now, we have tried to describe this topic, this area, in a very succinct manner, but you will see that when you study the topic, there is a lot that can be done. So we really are looking forward to all your ideas. So the scope is really on AYAs, so adolescents and young adults with cancer, age range 15 to 39. Because they often experience a lot of late effects, unfortunately, due to treatment. And they are mentioned here. You're probably very well aware what all these issues are. The issue is that the understanding of these late effects is limited, and certainly the management has a lot of unaddressed needs. So the scope, we expect that the applicants will build on the data of existing or newly established cohorts in this area and in this age group, to then work and obtain assessment by cancer type, look at the prevalence, look at severity of onset, relative risk factors, develop, test and scale evidence to set up, let's say, screening methods to detect as early as possible these late effects in this group of adolescent and young adult cancer patients and survivors. But also develop, test and scale up in real-life settings, innovative approaches and tools to optimize cancer treatment and follow-up regimens. So important, as we stated, that an applicant addresses only one of these following interventions. So there is no need to address all the 3. please focus on one of these three options. And we are using that also in the evaluation portfolio approach. So as clearly stated, what we would like to fund is one proposal focusing on bullet number 1, on number 2 and number 3. So expected outcomes that at the end of these duration of these projects, proposals will make it possible to have an increased awareness and understanding of the incidence, severity and impact of late effects in this population. And again, the topic allows preclinical research, clinical research, looking into new diagnostics. It's extremely broad, actually. The expected outcome is also development of effective interventions to really support these patients and survivors in preventing, reducing and managing their late effects. And last but not least, improved quality of life and long-term outcomes for these survivors is expected. So this is very hands-on, let's say very mission approach, so focusing on concrete solutions for this patient group. Thank you. Then I pass the floor to Angelo for topic number 6.
Thanks again, Jan. So topic 06 is about an information portal for the European Cancer Patient Digital Center. This is an innovation action with a budget of about 12 million euro, and we do expect to fund one project. The European Cancer Patient Digital Center, or ECPDC, is another flagship of the cancer mission that aims at improving cancer patient and survivors' quality of life. The ECPDC is foreseen as a digital platform with several components, and one of them is the information portal that is the actual topic, the actual focus of this topic. In this topic, we expect proposals covering all of the following scopes: to design and develop and deploy a pilot information portal for the ECPDC that complements the current knowledge center on cancer that has been developed by the Joint Research Center, one of the directorate of the Commission. And actual reference is given in the core text. The knowledge base of the information portal should be based on scientific evidence and can cover the information needs along the whole patient journey, therefore from prevention to life after cancer. The selection of the information should be based on explicit and robust criteria and can profit of a validated application of AI tools for the selection, review, and update of this information. Additionally, the user experience can be improved by implementing an AI-based virtual assistant that is tailored to user needs and expectations. Next slide, please. All solutions developed should be open source and made available. This topic will benefit from the involvement of AI researchers, clinicians, health guideline developers, service designers, and patient organizations, among others. Proposals should also include other information to support cancer patients that is not based on scientific literature. And here on the slide you have some examples like information on cross-border healthcare, psychological and legal support options, and others. Finally, proposals should test and validate the pilot information portal with an appropriate number of potential users. Here, appropriate links should be made also with topic 02. Regarding the outcomes, proposals are expected to contribute to all of them the following. The information portal of the ECPDC is an entry point for quality information for cancer patients, survivors, and their family. It complements the Knowledge Center on Cancer by integrating additional trusted information. It implements human-centric AI solutions. And with this, I give back the floor to Barbara for the continuation of the program.
Thank you very much, Jan and Angelo. So we are now opening the floor, and more practically Slido, for questions. I see that many of you already started putting your questions on Slido. Some of you have asked whether the presentations will be made available, and the answer is yes. And they will be made available in two ways. The whole session will be made available on YouTube, and you therefore will see the slides, but we will also put them on the website related to the missions. Now, I have the first question relates to elaborate what written commitment from regions means. And Jan, I would suggest you take that one.
Yeah, so this is described in the text of this call topic, but it means essentially that when a region is going to be targeted, or regions are going to be targeted, because we ask for 3 regions in each of these proposals, that there will be evidence that these regions are really going to be participating. So we ask for a written commitment. So it could be a simple letter signed by that region or the authority with whom you're going to work in that region. But that's clearly described in the topic text.
Yes, and to emphasize that we've seen in the past that consortia develop a very nice proposal and propose to implement in a given region, but without really having discussed this through with the regional authorities. That's why we want to make sure that the regional authorities are involved, aware, and commit themselves as well to participate. So that is why we ask for this written commitment. And we've seen in the past that people forget, although, as Jan says, it's clearly written in the topic text, somehow it is not understood as really important. So it is a written commitment. We don't ask for a budgetary commitment, we ask just that the region agrees to participate in the research should the proposal be successful. So I hope that clarifies. Then we have next topic is related to the 0101 use cases for the UNCAN platform. And Angelo, over to you.
Thank you, Barbara, and thanks for this question. So the UNCAN.eu is a flagship action. Therefore, there have been several preparatory actions already funded, and where applicants can build on. And the blueprint is only one of those. Is produced by a project that now is closed, that is called For UNCAN. And it's not mandatory, of course, to follow the blueprint, that it should be treated and handled as just a suggestion for solution. And of course, consortia applicants are free to propose their way forward. However, keep in mind that when the blueprint was prepared, the European Health Data Space Regulation was not in place, and now it is. So therefore, I strongly suggest interested applicants to have a close look to the regulation and to the infrastructures and the design of the infrastructure that are already inside the regulation.
Thank you, Angelo. Then we see a question related to EIT Health that looks well placed to support the cancer mission. I suggest, Jean-Marc, that you take that one. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead.
Indeed, we. So it looks like that there is a. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So yes, we can help.
Jean-Marc, I see that there are some problems in the connection. We will come back to that question when the problem is solved. And we go to the next question, which is about use cases to be developed for accessible and affordable test and an early detection program. There I would ask Angelo or Jan to answer that one. Because it is, in fact, can I ask the person that put this question in the chat, or the persons, to clarify which topics this relate to? And then we come back to that one as well. Then we have a question on the definition of late. Jan, can you take that one?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I think it's important to understand that this topic applies both to patients in treatment and after treatment, so having survived. And as you know, that some of the treatments take 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 or more years to complete. Some patients unfortunately have recurrent cancers, so late. There is no precise definition for late, but it's at least 1 to 2 years after the end of treatment. But as this topic is also about cancer patients being treated, it could be that they are being treated for recurrent cancers and at the same time start suffering from what happened to them when they were 2, 3, or 10 years old. So it's at least 1 to 2 years, but it's not precisely defined. But oncologists will know, I think, better. But late effects, of course, we have described a lot and I think that's important to look at. Some of them take years to come to the fore. So, for example, when we talk about infertility issues, this will only, when childhood cancer, in the case of childhood cancer, will only come to the fore, at the adolescent stage or later. So it depends also on the symptoms that you're going to address.
Thank you, Jan. And then there's a question on charities, on late cancer effect. The topic is open, but Jan, you may want to add on that?
Absolutely. So charities can participate to all the topics that are open. As we said, mission favors the interaction and the collaboration between disciplines and sectors. Of course, it has to be relevant. So charities can participate to this topic 5 on IA cancer effects. It really depends on the consortium and how the consortium is bringing the beneficiaries, the partners together, and what their role is. So this is really up to the consortium to decide, but of course they can participate.
And then you could take the next one, which is about policymakers receiving the test programs for early detection of heritable cancer.
Yeah, so let's say there are different answers to this question. I think the simplest answer is that, of course, the projects will report carefully what they are going to deliver in the forms of deliverables, but also as part of the final reports, publications. So I think that's how the test programs could be delivered to policymakers. So, and of course, another option is to produce a policy paper, white papers. It could be done, for example, as part of a cluster activity, which we actually strongly promote in the clusters that have started. They have already started working on a common policy paper of any topic that they think is important to be addressed. So that is another way of addressing this.
Thank you, Jan. Then there was a question how the Cancer Mission will support Transcan. This is really about the future. This is not part of the current work program topics. So it's a relevant question. I think it's important. Transcan is a network that has really worked well in leveraging funding, in engaging with the younger research community, but the subject of this info session now is to discuss and provide opportunities for you all to pose your questions related to topics that were published in the Work Program 24. So then there's a question about the reference that the application could be 70 pages. That is the general reference for topic text. But Angelo, you wanted to comment on that one?
Yes, I think it refers to topic 01 that has this exception, that is 70 pages length is more than the usual length is only for topic 01.
Okay, then the next question relates to the CSA and pragmatic trials. Jan, you want to come in on that?
Yeah, thank you also for this question about the minimum expected budget. There is no minimum expected budget. This is really up to this consortium that should have a number of charities coming together. It's really up to their commitments when it comes to budget, what they think should be put in. But of course, there is, the reality is that these trials cost a lot of money. So the money has to be sufficient to run meaningful trials, so multi-center trials, and they cost money. So that's all we can say about this.
Yeah, it's really about the charities coming together and agreeing on what funds they can collectively put together. So then there's a question on the European Cancer Patient Digital Center. Angelo, over to you.
Thank you for these questions about the function of the virtual assistant. We thought that it is important when you deal with evidence-based information to translate, let's say, this information in lay terms, and this can be today efficiently performed with a virtual assistant. Therefore, we ask to applicants to come out with bright ideas on how this assistant can work in tailoring the way the information is given back to the users in a way that they can understand. And if it's necessary to test this virtual assistance, yes, it is. We have put this requirement inside the call text.
Yeah, thank you, Angelo. It is really about when you have this information portal that the patients can actually understand the information that is brought to them, which we've seen often is not the case. And that's why we thought that the virtual assistant may help in translating this scientific information in wording that is appropriately understood. Now, Jan, there's a question about the minimum of charities that should be involved.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So the minimum number of charities, so this of course relates to the rules for participating in the work program, which is clearly described. So there should be a minimum number of 3 member states and/or associated countries. So the minimum number should be 3 from 3 different of these countries. And please look at the general annex of the work program. Of course, we hope there will be more, but that is the minimum number. And we indeed mention across Europe, trying again to take into account the issue of inequalities and inequity. So across Europe means that we would like to see a consortium that at least has charities coming from Northern, Central, Eastern, Western and Southern Europe. That's the only sort of definition that we would like to give. It's completely open, but at least show that there is participation from, let's say, all the main areas, parts of Europe. That is the idea.
Thank you, Jan. Then there's a question on the other UNCAN initiative sites from the 4UNCAN EU project. So, Angelo.
Thanks for the questions. Yeah, there have been several initiatives that they are listed in the call text. I already mentioned the EOSC for cancer. Then there is CanServe. Both of those projects were funded in 2021 to support the preparatory work for the infrastructure. And then I suggest to have a close look at the deliverables of the HDS, the European Health Data Space preparatory project, pilot in particular, where they have use cases on cancer. And the Healthy Clouds is another initiative that is relevant for this topic.
Thank you, Angelo. Then there's a question of a small cancer charity, how they can best be involved. Jan, you will take that one maybe, but certainly I would suggest that charity to get in touch with the national contact point that will help, whose task is to support researchers to apply. But Jan, you may want to add.
Indeed, so I think this is a very interesting question again about the aspect of cancer charities. Indeed, it's not only to be part of a consortium. So for more information, the NCPs, but certainly here I think is what was mentioned by Annika. There is this very interesting brokerage event in May. I think that's where you should also participate. But if you, for example, thinking of supporting researchers in your country to apply, I think that's a great idea. Because I think that is what we would like to see, start to see these better connections with charities, research institutions, and I think this could be one way of making that happen. So I think that's a great idea.
Thank you. And Jan, you may take the next one, which is about clarifying the targeted age group.
Yeah, so the definition of the age group is indicated in the topic, and the reason why we have extended the age group from 15 to 39, because if you look at clinical guidelines in Europe on cancer patients, childhood cancer, adolescents and young adults, There is still no real agreement on what the age group should be, but in this case we thought it would be important to extend it to at least what appears in one of these guidelines, which is 39 as the upper limit, because of the very important aspects. The late effects, some late effects become only evident, even far beyond adolescence, and we know that young adults have a different biology. The cancers have a different biology, so they should be part of late effects and should be treated as such. So that's why we decided to increase the age group.
And you may take also the next one, which is concerning 0103, and the question related to AYA.
Yeah, so the question is about one exclusive AYA specific will be funded. So the idea is that clearly described in the topic that we ask applicants to focus on one of three options. In this way, we are sure that we're going to have projects that are going to be really fully complementary and addressing all the important issues that we consider important and are described in the topic. So it is not that there will be only one exclusive AYA-specific population be targeted. You can target more groups. This is really up to the consortium. It's really up to your main objective and that you want to address in your proposal. So mixed populations, fine. It really depends how you can justify this in a proposal. And as we said before, there will be this peer review, so it's really up to the independent experts to judge it. So if you can justify this, that's all possible.
Yes, Jan, and that's an important point you made. It's really important when the choices you make for the interventions or the research that you would like to be funded, that you justify it well, because as you will have seen, the topic descriptions are rather broad, and that is on purpose to allow applicants to come with new innovative ideas. But of course, for the peer reviewer, it's important to understand why a particular choice has been made. Then there's a question on the TRL levels, why there are no topics to early TRL levels.
Yeah. So in general, if you look at the health cluster within Horizon Europe and the mission on cancer, so we are very hesitant when it comes to using TRL levels. So usually we do not mention them, but when it comes to upscaling, then it's important to mention them. So TRL levels 1 to 4, actually there is this topic on late effects in adolescent and young adults. There is at least one of the three main areas that you can target is really about better understanding, and there you could go really into early translational research. So there are options in that topic in particular. But let's not forget, if you think about topic 1, use cases. I mean, use cases, it's all about basic research, translation research, better understanding childhood cancer aspects, or any poorly understood cancer subtype. So there is a lot of opportunities there, I think, to address early translational research.
Thanks, Jan. And then you may want to continue with the next question, which is on the AYA topic. Whether it's setting up research, gaining knowledge on the psychological burden, or is it focusing on developing interventions?
Yeah, so there it's really about the latter, so developing interventions.
And then there's a question on the topic 0104 that you might want to take as well.
Yeah, so thank you also for this question. So as we mentioned before, so in this case, the charities can decide to come together on a transnational call to focus only on rare cancers, focus only on cancers with overall survival of below 50%, 5-year overall survival, by the way. They can decide to address both. It's really up to the applicants to decide.
Then there's a question about individual PIs applying for any of the topics. Here we're talking about collaborative research where at least 3 entities of different member states or associated countries need to be part of the consortium. So this is not for an individual PI. Another question on the AYA topic, Jan?
Yeah, thank you also for this question. I think it's indeed important to understand that this topic is addressing late effects at large. So there is no focus on poorly understood cancers or whatsoever. We know, unfortunately, after all the workshops that were organized by my colleague Gianpaolo Soriano, and from all that is published, there is an amazing number of side effects, late effects that need to be addressed. And we know that it does not really depend on being a poorly understood cancer or a frequent or rare cancer. The focus is really on late effects. So any type of cancer, any type of cancer subtype can be addressed.
Then there's a question on the page limit for applications, and there, Angelo, it is only for the topic. Yeah, please clarify.
Page limit. Maybe Yannis can answer this one.
I can answer.
Yeah.
So for topic 1, the page limit is 70 pages. The standard page limit is 45. This has been reduced from Horizon 2020 Horizon Europe to 45 pages for this particular section, but that's all described in the general annexes to the work program.
Thank you, Jan. And then integrate early detection methods in the AYA topic.
Okay, so indeed, one of the 3 options is that applicants are asked to look into, to develop sort of screening approaches, screening methods to early detect late effects. And so that is actually one of the 3 options that you have. So the answer is yes. So your proposal should focus on, for example, this aspect.
Thank you, Jan. And then a question about how detailed the programmatic goals should be defined in the, I guess this relates to the topic with charities.
Yeah. So this is, you know, at the time of submission, it is not necessary to have them fully defined. It would be good, but again, there are independent experts who are going to evaluate this, so we have no idea what they're going to consider, but there should be some idea of what you think you want to address in these calls. But let's say the more information, the more convincing you can be at the type of submission to the group of independent experts, the more chance you stand of success. So there should definitely be some ideas.
Yes, it's really about creating a common understanding among the charities what pragmatic goals they would like to jointly fund. So, and then, as Jan is saying, it is for the expert evaluators to understand the same thing. What is the common focus? Yes, another question is it necessary with the network of registered charities, or can others participate as well?
Yeah, so the topic focuses on bringing together charities, and we state in the topic that these charities and/or foundations should be registered, but any other charity, of course, can participate as long as they exist, as they are really registered somewhere in a European country. So it's not about a network of charities that need to register. Any individual charity can participate as long as they exist, as they really are registered somewhere.
Yes, this is an important point. We need the evidence that the charity is a recognized charity, so that's why we refer to register. But as Jan clarified, it's not about registering a network of charities. How long is the project period? That is really up to the applicant to define and justify. So there is, from the Commission side, and no limitation on project duration, except for particular topics where we've indicated it. But it's really important that you justify why your project will be 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, because that's what the experts, independent experts that do the review will look at. You want to add to that, Jan?
No, I think that's fully clear. So I can just say that out of experience, we have received proposals that range from between 2 to sometimes 9 years. It's really up to the consortium and how the consortium wants to go about the research and innovation it wants to develop.
Then there's a question on the how the calls synergize with the current EU for Health actions.
Yeah, I think there can be different answers. The simple answer is that, as Annika mentioned, so the cancer plan and the cancer mission are fully complementary. So any of the core topics that you see in the cancer mission have already been sort of discussed with the cancer plan team and vice versa. So there is no overlap, there is only complementarity, or we address completely different things. So in that sense, the synergies exist. That is the short answer.
Yes, and the synergies can exist in a different way. We also have synergies with the work done by the GRC, and we are, let's say, in this full co-creation mode, is that the other DGs develop the topics with us and we work with them, so yes. Then there's a question on piloting partners. I guess this relates to the question on what kind of commitment is necessary. Jan, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. So indeed, if such hospitals or cancer centers, are, for example, in charge of regional healthcare, this could be it could be sufficient, or any other relevant regional authority that is linked to the working of these hospitals could be a sufficient commitment. But there should be some evidence of that by a simple letter where this is briefly explained and signed.
Thank you. Then there's a question on the dialogue on national cancer nodes. Angelo.
Thanks for the question. So should the dialogue be limited to the digital platform? Yeah, should be the focus of this dialogue. But of course, national infrastructure, health data infrastructure should be involved in this dialogue, and there will be differences country by country, and therefore we cannot foresee, let's say, a fixed list of actors involved there. However, in the context there are already suggestions.
Thank you, Angelo. I think I don't see any questions being put to the floor, so we're reaching the end of our information session. You will see on the slide that you currently see that we already put together a lot of reference websites that you can access to gather more information, and importantly also related, for example, to the EIT. And in that sense, I wanted to ask if Jean-Marc can still say a few words about involvement. I don't know if your connection is now open or not.
Yeah, my connection is still open, and when it comes to the initiative, the dialogue and
Okay, Jean-Marc, we cannot hear you, but what I wanted to say, for all the questions that have been posted in Slido and that we answered, we will also have frequently asked questions on the website, and where the points that Jean-Marc wanted to make will be fully presented. I would like to thank you for your interest. We hope that this session was informative. I would also like to thank the colleagues who have been working diligently to prepare for this information session. We invite you, of course, to revisit the session on YouTube, and then we will post the slides on our website. And we also, as I just mentioned, will have frequently asked questions that repeat the information we provided you with now. So I also wanted to thank Sylvia, Yanis, Jean-Marc, and then my colleagues Annika, Jan, and Angelo, and Kay, and Gianpaolo, and Mireia. There's a whole team behind this session. Thank you very much, and I already wish you a nice weekend.